Good morning. It's been a while since I've done any videos, pretty much since I left Washington. I think I did maybe one video while I was here. Anyways, I'm in Evans, Georgia, suburb of Augusta. Moved here about 4 years ago. Brought a lot of these plants with me from Seattle, and then planted them here. And haven't lost very many. I lost a few things, some princeps and I think a JUBAEA morii and just a couple other little palms. Probably too small to put in and probably not the best soil. Anyways, starting here, Trachycarpus fortunii. Yes, it's in a raised bed. Mainly I was going to do a project here, but that's kind of changed a little bit. So in the back over here, this stuff will all come out, and I'll build this retaining wall bigger and add the princeps here. A little more shade and a lot more sun too. So this is JUBAEA cross with JUBAEA cacoides. Much different looking than say a mule palm. Leaves are totally different, but did get hammered. I got down to 12 or so, 13 degrees this winter with snow, and burnt it pretty bad. It did have a heating cable and a blanket on it. Excuse me. And that seemed to keep it alive. Didn't have spear pull, but did get a burned spear. Over there you got Trachycarpus nanental. It burnt a couple times the first couple years here, and then now it's just kind of taken off. That's a Trachycarpus fortunii from Seattle, one of my seedlings off of my palms that I used to have. This is a Moroccan chamaerops. This guy I got from a guy in North Carolina. I got a few of them. You'll see them as I go along. But Sable Minor, dwarf blue, out of North Carolina. It's about as tall as it's supposed to get. Another Trachycarpus. That's one of my Budeas. Was a 30 gallon or so. Now the thing's about 8 feet tall. This is Rosa Sharon. This is out of the Satin series. This is Satin Violet. This is one of my plumerias in flower. That's Jester. And then this is Texas Star Hibiscus. Kind of got this whole area. This is kind of my mom's dedication garden. I need to weed through here. New Zealand purple castor bean. This has been seeding on its own, so I planted a bunch of plants and pretty much drops its seed and grows. So far so good with those. This was a hybrid this was supposed to be a hybrid that I got from Patrick. Clearly isn't, doesn't look like a mule palm. Not sure which JUBAEA it is. It was crossed with JUBAEA paraguayus, but it just has a really big fat woolly trunk, so I'm not quite sure. Could be another cross for all I know, but I'm pretty sure it's just straight JUBAEA. But like I said, this thing's grown from about a 1 gallon size to this size in 4 years time. It flowers multiple times throughout the year. This is a hybrid cross that I did with Diane, and it kind of gets some single flowers and some doubles. This plumeria right here is Inner Peace. That's what used to be a Philifera. Didn't like last winter, and didn't like, or not last winter, the winter before last, and didn't like the humid summer, so it perished. Believe it or not, this guy's about 30 years old. I'm pretty sure it's just a Fortunii. That's all I really had was a couple Waggies and a Fortunii. And this guy's about 30 years old seedling. It used to just sit in a rock cactus garden. Never really got any water, never really grew, never really did anything. Since I put it in the ground, it may be growing a couple centimeters in the trunk, but nothing like a regular Fortuna I would put on when it's happy. And it seems to be happy, so. Back here is that's a little red oleander and mandevilla gold birds of paradise. This is a garden that I'm now tearing apart and rebuilding. You can see the big mule palm down there. But I got all kinds of plants from the southwest, from Cactus Joe's and a few other places down there that the plants will be, some of these will be plucked back up and replanted. Other ones will just stay on the ground like those birds will stay on the ground. I planted most of these high up in the ground, so that way when I did start this garden, I wouldn't have to backtrack. Bad place for a gardenia. Gonna dig this sucker up and move it somewhere. That's Trachycarpus laxectus, formerly Sycamenisis, but it's laxectus. It did burn the lower leaves and then push the rest out. Some of these oleanders, I lost the tags though, so I don't know which ones they are. This one might be Jester. I know that one's a yellow one, common one. And there's if you look under there, deep down in there, there's a barrel cactus. Got a little damage from last winter, but made it. This right here is a Butea paraguayus crossed Syagris. So this is the way, well, this is a little burnt, but this is the way it should have looked instead of looking like a Butea. Don't remember the name of that cactus. That's a Trithanax. This is a Filibusta, growing way well. Down here is a Folifera. I got a few of them around. This is an aloe vera that Patrick gave me when I went down there. I got a few of them in the ground. And then I got this plumeria from Joseph Levert at the last Palm Society meeting. Now here's one fan right here. Now the reason for these fans is to circulate the air so there's no a lot of moisture hanging out in the area. Seems to be working, but this is for this palm. This is a JUBAEA chiliensis, Chilean wine palm. This was a 24-inch box originally when I put it in, or no, 27-inch box, I'm sorry. But so far so good, haven't had any problems. It is in a raised bed. Most of that soil is volcanic, meaning Mount St. Helens ash, Mount St. Helens pumice, a lot of lava rocks from all over the place on the west coast. I pour Mount St. Helens ash in there every year. This retaining wall was built about 4 feet up and built on a rock mound. The roots are starting to pop out here and there from the JUBAEA, but it'll be fine in there for a while. And then of course I'll have to move some things and widen it out a little bit. Mainly this hibiscus will stay here. Got that from Joseph as well. This is Choco Latte, another castor bean. But this, so this is its trunk. Like I said, you can see the ice plant sometimes struggles in here because it is very dry. I don't water here very often at all. I don't want too much moisture around this bed. It's already getting gutter runoff on the north side of this on the other, or basically on the other side of this, from where I'm at. There's a gutter runoff there. There's still a big mound, but I'm sure water seeps, so I just try to make it over there so it just runs away from this palm. This whole area is raised, whether it's raised an inch to some areas 5-6 inches, some areas more than a foot. That garden bed over there, that's raised probably 1.5 foot, dead center, and this one's probably raised a couple feet, so this guy can have the best drainage possible. Here's the other fan. This one blows on the crown, by the spirit and the trunk, so I don't get rot over there. This one that I was originally showing you, this filibust is a little in the ways, but I got a nice breeze that comes right through here, and it just got a lot of air movement. If you notice this JUBAEA Butia F1, if you notice, it's not even moving. There's no air movement whatsoever. But you come over here, you start to notice a little bit of movement as you go in, and then after that it's just, everything's moving in here. So it kind of dries the air out a little bit. Most of these palms have dew on them right now. This does too, but some areas are already dry, so it doesn't sit on it, and especially on the crown over there, it doesn't sit. Previously mentioned, this is the JUBAEA Cross Butia, massive crown already. This was a 15-gallon or 5-gallon. I think it was a 15-gallon. Now its trunk's just about almost as big as the JUBAEA's trunk. If you notice up here, you can see them hooks. That's one way you can tell if you have a hybrid crossed with the JUBAEA. Another way is, normally Butias have teeth. This has very, very little teeth, almost none. But the hooks are a dead giveaway that it's a JUBAEA hybrid. And I'll show you another, actually I'll show you a couple of them. Just some regular elephant ears growing. Pink banana flowering, has bananas on it. I'm gonna move some of these out of here. I think I got a baju in there I need to move somewhere. This is the large elephant ears. Now this guy right here, he grew fast. This was a 5-gallon windmill palm that I planted back in Seattle. I had 2 of them, the other one died, but didn't survive the move. This one had maybe 6 inches of trunk to maybe 8 inches of trunk, and now the thing has about 8 feet of trunk, maybe 7.5. It's huge. It's flowered once already now, and wasn't expecting it to grow this fast. A couple sagos. This is Trachycarpus wagneronus. Again, this was a little 3-inch, 4-inch trunk, and now the whole plant's probably about 6 feet tall. and about a 3.5 foot trunk. And this is going to be a new garden bed that I'm in the process of starting to do. Those are a couple filibustas out there and a lot of Rose of Sharon hibiscus. More castor beans. Here's a good shot of the Texas star hibiscus. It's one of my favorite. Never tried it at home, never even heard of it until I got here. That banana, there's a red banana in there as well, but that banana right there is the Grand Name banana. I planted it over there from another garden that I wasn't doing well in, and it seems to do okay over there. Dies and comes back. That banana right there is California Gold. This banana right here is Blue Java. And backside over here is a Musabaju. And then there's a red banana in there somewhere in the jungle. This palm is hard for me to get to right now. I'm gonna have to cut back this crepe myrtle and get in there and really hack it back so this guy can get some more light. But this is a JUBAEA crossed with a mule palm done by Patrick. I do get sunburn on it, but it seems to be okay. This is a pineapple guava. I've had this, the deer ate it all the way back, but it came back when I moved it here. It's doing better now. That was just a little 1 gallon. And then this was a little 1 gallon olive tree, and it's being held up right now, but it's probably got about 5 foot tall maybe. This is my first chamrops that I planted here, at least as far as the green one goes. Hardy ginger. I don't remember the variety of this one, so I gotta kind of wait to see it flowers. This guy right here is Maui Punch, castor bean, a bunch of baju in this garden. This is Typhoon. Has a great flower and a great scent. These are all for butterflies. I don't know what they are. They're kind of turning it into a weed, but they're not totally aggressive and they're easy to pull out. But I do like the little flowers that they have. Here's the Nanotol. Like I said, Baju. There's a Hawaiian tea plant in there. If you don't know what that is, they use it to make skirts and stuff. But I've had that for probably 15 years or longer. And in Washington it would burn back and I'd have to put it in the greenhouse, and then it would come back in the greenhouse, and then I'd put it back outside and played that game for a while. This time I put it in the ground and wasn't sure what was going to happen with it, but it dies back and comes back. So this is a sable minor that I got down off of a plant that was in Oregon. And I brought 2 of them up here that I had, and when I dug them up and brought them here, they arrived here and they were covered in mold. I wasn't sure what was going to happen to them, and the one that I planted in the back almost died, so I moved it up front. And then this one I planted up front, and it got 6 feet tall, and it was only a 5 gallon plant, but got 6 feet tall in 4 years. And I moved the other one over there, and you can see it starting to get some height on it now that it's out here. Go up through here. This is another filibusta. This is on the flipper side. More robusta leaves, as you can tell, but trunk wise more on the flipper. That's a Mexican sorry, I just walked through a spider web and I was about to walk through a really big one. Anyways, that's a Mexican birds of paradise. I picked that up in Nevada, and that is Trachycarpus nanus crossed with, that one's crossed with Nova. Here's another inside look at the sable with all the seeds on it. This guy right here, that is JUBAEA cross JUBAEA, and I'll go around on the other side there and show you more hooks. This is Sable, Louisiana, I believe. Might be a tag still with it. Anyways, this is JUBAEA cross JUBAEA. As you can see, the trunk has a few little hooks on it, or not hooks, but spines on it, or whatever you want to call them. This was a 15 or a 5 gallon as well. As you can see up here, right there, or even better, right there you can see kind of a hook on it. It's a nice hook right there. But you should have, as far as hybrids go, your F1s are usually going to have your hooks on them. And as you go farther along, you know, into an F2, F3, F4, you're going to start losing those hooks. But this one's a nice looking one. I like the way this one sits. Never had any damage to it. Seems to be a great palm. That's Blushing Bride. It's a variegated Rosa Sharon. This guy needs to be a little cleaned up, it looks like. This is Trachycarpus tequil. I do get some burn on it, obviously. I think I was pouring hydrogen peroxide down this guy. I've had this guy for probably about, I don't know, I want to say 10 years. Maybe, something like that. I had it in a pot in Seattle. Never planted it. It might even been more than 10 years. But never planted it. It's grown probably about half that size trunk since I planted it here. These are both Fortunii. I planted those to kind of help protect the tequila a little better. Back behind the tequila, and I'll go on the other side again. That's Sable Miamiensis, and that's just a JUBAEA odorata. This is supposed to be a Sable Palmetto, but I'm doubtful. It doesn't look right for a palmetto. Might be a minor, but we'll see. We'll see as it grows. This robust I had for probably 15 years, and I protected it in Seattle, and I didn't protect it here very well, and kind of let it do its own thing, and that's what it did. This little bluish palm in there, that's the blue Sable Urasana. That's from Joseph Levert. This orange tree got a fruit this year. This is from Tom McClendon. I got this one out of the Palm Society meeting. This is the green version of Sable Urasana. Again, from Joseph Levert. it's finally starting to put out mature fronds. So hopefully the other one will. Unknown sable, I forgot which one that one was. This is a Cerifera. This is my biggest one. I need to get in there and prune it back a little bit so it's not such a ball. But I kind of like the ball, but I need to get in there and clean it out. That's my sable Miamiensis. I got this from Patrick. This thing was a strap leaf in 2023, and it's done nothing but grow. It's already probably about 7 feet tall. This is an oleander that I picked up in. I picked up seeds for it in Nevada over by Lake Mead, and that's the flower of it. Really pretty. It does get a little burn back, so it's kind of, I guess you'd say, semi-hardy, but it has gotten bigger over the years, and it should fill in this space, especially as these palms start to grow, you know, and kind of help protect some of the plants being evergreen. So I'm hoping that this guy kind of protects some stuff in here. And then this is a saw palmetto that I got at the first Palm Society meeting that I went to over here. This one's taken off. The other one didn't do so well. It's kind of half. Brahea armata. This guy's done pretty well. Probably grown maybe 8 inches of trunk since I planted it, and has about 2.5 to 3 feet of trunk now. So it's a nice specimen. In the process of weeding this out, this is my cactus garden. This is all getting replaced with rock. I don't like picking through this. I'm sure no one likes it, but gotta do it. So finishing cleaning this out, I gotta plant all these cactuses back in their home, because they all came out of here trying to get the weeds out. So just kind of working my way around. This is Yucca rostrata. Brought this up from San Diego. Desilarian. This is actually going to be planted over in the southwest garden over there. And I'm still working my way through the weeds here too. This is a Petunia that I got from Oregon. Another Moroccan. That one biggest agave there, I dragged him all the way from San Diego, Mission Bay. It was kind of, I guess it'd be southwest maybe of the JUBAEAs, and a hotel. They had a huge one in there, and I was able to get a big long pup, and this is the result of that pup. And then there's a Perii, which this thing's suckered everywhere. I gotta go through and pull these weeds out again. That's another version of Perii. I got some better ones that are doing better in other gardens. That one, I had 2 in here, and they didn't seem to like, the pups didn't even like the garden for some reason. So I'm not sure why. Another Bootia just planted. This guy right here is kind of unique. Oh, here's one of the other agave Perei's that are doing well. But this guy right here was a pup off of a Mediterranean that I had purchased for my mom back in the late 90s, and it died I think in 2008, and all I had was a couple pups, so I plucked the pup out. It had like 1 root on it, and I ended up putting it in a pot. It didn't do really anything for a good 10 years or so, and then I brought it here. I noticed it was rooting in finally in the pot because I left it in the greenhouse year round just to get the heat. back home in Seattle, and I brought it here and it instantly started pushing roots out the bottom of the pot, so I decided to plant it here, and it has taken off and is now actually growing its own offshoots. So it's starting to do good on its own now. This is a prickly pear that I got down. It's native to Nevada. I'm getting a lot of tunas all over them. And then this is a wild bunch of foliferas that I just threw a handful of seed out there, and they just kind of grow on their own. And there's even a sable growing in there. I'm not sure what variety. I do got seedlings coming up everywhere, because if I have extra seeds, I just kind of throw it out. One of my choyas, that one flowered. That's satin blue hibiscus, and then there's a hybrid growing out of it, crossed with something else, and created this really pretty one down at the bottom there. But I'll be taking cuttings off this guy soon, because I'm worried I might lose it. It's supposed to be Sable Antonia. It might be crossed with Miamiensis. Patrick wasn't sure. But these guys will all get replanted. I got different cactuses growing kind of everywhere. Another needle palm. Got a good deal on some 7 gallons. Another blushing bride. Well, that's pretty much everything for now. Hope you guys enjoyed the little tour of the garden. That's a yellow oleander that I got from Joseph Levert. But that's pretty much the yard. Some of the palms that are growing here. Again, this is Evans Zone 8B, formerly Zone 8A. And for the last 30 years, probably been floating on the 9A boat, except for all that changed in December 22. So hopefully I get some good luck with a lot of these plants, and I gotta watch them grow. But this garden is also when I dug all this soil up, this was clay, like heavy clay. I had to bring in several dump trucks of sand and soil, and basically graded the ground down, about a foot, and replaced it with sand and soil. Replanted the grass, built my mounds of mainly sand, and then as I put the bark in there, bark over here decomposes really fast, which it ends up turning into really good soil. So I just built it up. That bed over there is actually, again, a lot of lava rock from all over the West Coast, pumice, ash. There's fossils in there. There's seashells in there to help with the magnesium. There's I don't throw ash in that garden anymore. It's just mainly the JUBAEA. The main thing was to try to recreate their actual climate, because over here I'm fighting with humidity, evening rain, with humid nights. So some of these can be a challenge for some if you just plop them in the ground and don't do good drainage, or keep them in an area where they're going to get that hot sun where they can dry out a little bit. But a lot of these gardens, the water's built to go that way and go that way. So everything from where I'm standing is downward. So all the water goes towards the street, over there where you see those cars going by. There's a drainage pipe down there. So I try to make everything so it drains. This bed right here, and that might be part of the problem I had with the Flifera, is I didn't really do much with this. I got so excited I just started planting palms and didn't really amend my soil till afterwards. And so I've been slowly amending the soil. Can't really build it up too much, but I could build it up a little bit, so that way, you know, I could start to get better drainage. Once this gardenia comes up and some of these plants that are in here come up, because I'm going to move some agaves and a few other little things in this garden, and then I'll probably plant a tree palm or a tall palm here. That way the foliage doesn't get in the way, and might be building a ramp here anyways, so I might have to move some of this stuff. But I think this garden, except for the hibiscus over there, I think this garden is probably going to end up being either a banana garden or just a solitaire palm, and maybe, you know, a couple sable minors or something low growing. And then over there, like I said, you know, that's going to be a bunch of bananas. I'm going to try to get different varieties. There'll be some palms over there, probably a couple crepe myrtle trees, so I can close that off over there so it blocks the traffic. And then eventually I'll start building over there. I got some citrus trees over there, and down the way over here I got some citrus trees that will be going in on that side over there. Kind of make a citrus garden. But so that's the garden. I hope you enjoyed the video. Maybe learned a little bit. I've been growing palms since 1993, when I first got started in this, and it all started here in Augusta, Georgia, where I met Joseph and got my first sable palms. Went home knowing nothing, planted them in bark, and they all rotted because of the moisture and the being damp all the time the first winter. You know, I even lost the sable minors. So a lot of learning lessons, a lot of lost palms, you know, throughout the years. You know, a lot of learning about drainage and soils. If you do have a clay soil here, you know, and you do want to grow, you know, certain palms, you know, it's best to mound it up. It's best to try to give it as much sand and gravel as you can. You know, the palm will send roots down through it, and it will tap into a water source, just like the JUBAEA is doing, you know, because like I said, I don't really water that. There's enough moisture in the air and enough, you know, rain here in these hot afternoons that it's getting a lot of moisture as it is. That's probably, I don't think nematoids is the problem with JUBAEAs. I think it's the humidity. I think that if you plant a JUBAEA, you know, try to plant it up. You know, this retaining wall is very narrow because I try to reduce the amount of water that actually does fall into the roots. So just keep that in mind. You know, that I've had this in the ground 4 years when everybody said I wouldn't be able to have it, you know, 2 years, and now I'm being told that, you know, a decade. But, you know, this thing's very slow growing. It's a little faster over here, but it's a little slow growing still. You know, I'll just adjust the fan's turn, so I could just adjust them as I need. You know, if I need to add another one, I can add another one. But I think that for a while I'll be good with this setup. But yep, that's the garden. If you have any questions, you know, leave it in the comments. If you have specific plants you want to ask about, just leave it in the comments, and I'll try to do some more videos of palms around, you know, the Augusta area and different places that I go, and we can talk about their growing zones, and you know, if you need a plant that you really want to grow and you're really not sure how to do, you know, your drainage or you know, how to plant it or whatever, just leave a message, and I'll get back to you and try to help you. Have a great day. Enjoy that sunshine if you have sunshine where you're at. It was nice being back on video again and kind of covering the garden. Have a great day.